Welcome everybody to today's edition of Focus. Today is Erev Lag BaOmer. Tonight is Lag BaOmer, the Yom Hilula, the day of the passing of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the great Tana. And we know that on the day of a person's passing, everything that he has accomplished throughout his entire life comes to life and is highlighted. And certainly all the brachas and everything that he has brought to this world is shining and coming down on this day. It is a day that celebrates Jewish unity. It's a day that celebrates children. And it's a day that we know that we could turn to the Rashbi and ask for all the brachas that we need. We know it's written in Hayom Yom that the Rabbeim will go in the field and would spend time with their Hasidim, and it'd be a day that you would see open miracles, brachas that will be asked, will be given, especially connected to children. So today, tonight, and tomorrow is a day that we could turn to the Rashbi and ask for whatever we need, and we could turn to the Rashbi of our generation, the Rebbe, and ask for whatever we need, just like a child turns to his father, to his mother, to grandparents, and ask what they need. Certainly, we will further prepare ourselves for Lag BaOmer, putting ourselves excitedly in the right frame of mind. Let us begin with the question of the day for today's video. Where did the Rebbe take a detour on the way to the Ohel? I'm going to give you a bit of a setup for today's video. The Rebbe would participate in the Lag BaOmer parade in Crown Heights whenever it would take place on Sunday. When Lag BaOmer was on a Sunday, there would be a parade and the Rebbe would participate. When Lag BaOmer was during the week, the Rebbe would not come out and participate. Tzivos Hashem would arrange something, but the Rebbe did not participate in those. The Rebbe would give a bracha, certainly, but the Rebbe did not actually physically be there. The question today is, where did the Rebbe take a detour on the way to the Ohel? Listen closely and follow along so you know the answer.
Today we are going to ask you, where did the Rebbe detour on the way to the Ohel? Listen closely and follow along, so you will know the answer.
Hooray, hooray, we join together, hand in hand. Not this year, Mushka. The big Lag BaOmer parade outside 770 only happens when Lag BaOmer falls out on Sunday. This year, it's on Tuesday. So what do we do when Lag BaOmer is on Tuesday? Lag BaOmer is still lots of fun. All of the schools join together for a big, huge rally in the park. We say Pesukim, get treats, watch a show. Last rally, there was a balloon man on a bike. He did a trick where he fit his whole head inside the balloon. It was really funny. Are there clowns? I don't really like clowns.
Clowns where, Mushkala?
Oh, Mommy, we were talking about the Lag BaOmer rally that happens when there's school on Lag BaOmer.
The Lag BaOmer rally. I remember it from when I was a little girl. When Lag BaOmer fell out on Sunday, the parade was extra special. The Rebbe came in front of 770 and joined in. In Tafshin Nun Aleph, 1991, Lag BaOmer fell out on Thursday. Since it was Thursday, there was no parade with the Rebbe, but Tzivos Hashem arranged a huge rally in a park on Maple Street near Troy Avenue. To our great shock, we received a very special visitor.
The Rebbe came? Really?
Oh, it was such a surprise. That Lag BaOmer was full of unique highlights. During the rally, though, came one of the best ones of all. It was a beautiful rally with psukim, singing, and an acrobat show. Suddenly, in the middle of the show, Rabbi Hecht told everyone to stand up and start singing Ad Masai.
Boys and girls, we're going to, everyone stand up on your seats now. Stay in your seats. And everyone, we're going to sing all together now, Ad Masai.
What a surprise! The Rebbe was in his car on the way to the Ohel and decided to make a detour just to come see the Kinderlach at the rally. See how how shaky the video is? All the adults were running to try to see the Rebbe. The car drove in a circle around the entire field while we all sang Ad Masai on top of our lungs. Inside the car, we saw the Rebbe waving his hands enthusiastically.
The Lag BaOmer rally sounds so much fun. I don't know if there will be clownies, but I sure hope we are lucky enough this year to see the Rebbe.
Today's question is, where did the Rebbe detour on the way to the Ohel?
The Marine Guard chief, the howitzers. Give them a hand with General Goldstein. Rabbi Goldstein, the chaplain of the Army, he brought in the Marine Guard jeeps. There he is.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So let's get back to the question, where did the Rebbe take a detour on the way to the Ohel? If you know the answer, let your Rebbe know. Actually, Rebbe, maybe everybody could have a chance and everyone gets the answer correct. Everyone that gets the answer correctly can get extra credit. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Let's move along. Today, usually we do a Negin, but we're going to do a special story in honor of Lag BaOmer, a story that's not in the Hachayil magazine. I don't know if you know the story, so listen closely. In those days, Jewish communities in Eastern Europe were often subject to attack by wild bands of violent Cossacks and other such coarse anti-Semites. They would beat Jewish men, sometimes even fatally. They would plunder or destroy whatever Jewish property they could get their hands on. Once, the town where the Baal Shem Tov was living received word that such a gang of evil marauders, murderers, killers, was headed their way. The entire Jewish community decided to abandon their homes and hide in the hills for a few days until the invading Cossacks would calm down and leave. The Baal Shem Tov accompanied them. The people took refuge in the numerous caves that dotted the rugged terrain. From their lookout places, they could see that the Cossack horde had arrived. Unable to find any Jews to physically assault, they vented their anger and frustration on Jewish property. They broke into the warehouse of wine, drank themselves into a state of crazed drunkenness, smashed the rest of the barrels, and set fire to the building. The Jews all trembled in fear that the cruel Cossacks would decide to search the hills, and their hiding places would be discovered. A few days went by. The invaders stacked up piles of booty looted from Jewish homes and stores. The Jews were still terrified of being discovered. How startled they were to see that the nondescript Yisraelik, a nickname for Yisrael, the Baal Shem Tov's name, was assembling groups of their children outside of the caves in broad daylight. They protested, whereupon the Baal Shem Tov explained to them that it was the holy day of Lag BaOmer, a day to be outside in the fields, joyously celebrating the day of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. He assured them that not only would they not be endangered, but that the merit of their Lag BaOmer observance would help to protect and rescue the entire community. Somehow, his enthusiasm and conviction affected the nervous parents, and they gave their permission. The Baal Shem Tov went from cave to cave and gathered nearly all the children. All his movements reflected ecstasy in godliness, as he danced with the circle of children. While many of the adults were still mulling over this startling turn of events, the Baal Shem Tov launched a mini parade. The children marched along, singing happily as they followed their new charismatic leader. At first, they were a bit afraid and sang only in whispers and low voices. But in a short time, their fear melted away as they raised their voices to join in the infectiously cheerful tunes of the day honoring Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. The parents gazed after their children with nervous affection, but their attention soon whipped to the Baal Shem Tov. It was as if he was a person they had never seen before. His face flamed with rapture as he sang, and all his movements reflected ecstasy in the divine as he danced with the circle of children. The simple Yisraelik that they knew had been transformed in their eyes into the holiest of men. His voice combined with those of the pure innocent children to produce singing that seemed to be no less awesome than that of the angels in heaven. The parade and the singing continued for a long time. Afterwards, the Baal Shem Tov led the children to a small plateau, sat them on the grass, and distributed to each of them desserts that he had brought with him. He made sure that each child pronounced loudly the correct blessing for the food that he received. Then, after they had eaten, he told them riveting stories from the Talmud and the Medrash about Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and about Rabbi Akiva. The children listened attentively and felt the powerful love the Baal Shem Tov had for each of them, responding with great affection. The parents and the other adults from the village remained very worried. How could Yisrael stay so long in the open with their children? Their frightened glances switched rapidly back and forth from the smoke and the fury in the village below the rows of the children seated in front of the Baal Shem Tov. They whispered prayers that all should end well and that everyone would be safe. Suddenly, they saw the Cossack gang rush from the village and scatter in every direction, running with all their might. They left so suddenly that they didn't stop to take anything with them, abandoning their massive plunder. At first, the Jews were afraid that the crazed invaders were searching for them again, but the speed with which the enemy disappeared from the vicinity soon calmed their fears. Soon after, all the Jews returned to their village. The danger was over. Eventually, they were able to clarify what had happened. Somehow, the hooligans had found out, or thought they had found out, that a troop of government soldiers was rapidly approaching in their direction. Frightened, they had fled for their lives, abandoning everything that might slow down their flight. The Jews returned to their homes with the happy strides, amazed by the miracle that had taken place for them. They knew without doubt that the miracle occurred in the merit of their children's joyous celebration in honor of the great sage Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai on his day of joy, Lag BaOmer, with the heretofore hidden mystic, the Baal Shem Tov, who had already disappeared to another location. Wow, I'm curious to know how many of you guys knew that story. Let's move along to today's Mashiach Minute, and Rabbi Munitz, take it away.
In Yana Geula Moshiach, this verse is a very famous prophecy about Moshiach. Moshiach will judge any arguments between the nations of the world and will tell many of them to change the way they are acting. Now the nations won't have any reason to fight with each other anymore, since Moshiach will have told them what is right and what is wrong. Now what will they do with their weapons? And they will bend their swords into plows for their fields, and they will bend their spears into pruning hooks. This means that instead of using their weapons for war, they will use their weapons to help things grow better. No nation will lift up their swords to fight with each other anymore, and they won't even learn about or practice fighting, since they will all know that there will never be another war. We want Moshiach now.
Amen. Thank you, Rabbi Munitz. Missions. Tomorrow's last day for the 180-day grand raffle. But there's still the weekly raffles. And even if there's no raffles, you have a chance to give the Rebbe Nachas, give the Eibster Nachas, and do what you're supposed to do as a soldier in Tzivos Hashem. Do all the mitzvahs you could do. Fill out your missions and make sure that duch goes to the Rebbe and goes to the Eibster. Fill out your missions. Yesterday's activity challenge was reading between the lines. Very, very good. Whoever got it. Let's move on to today's. And today is not a puzzle, it's a parsha riddle. This week's parsha is Behar and Bechukaisai. And the question is, Har Sinai is referenced in the first pasuk, first verse of this week's parsha. By what two other names is Har Sinai known? Meaning, Har Sinai has two other names that it's called by. Do you know what those two names are? Maybe Rabbi Samuels knows it. I don't know. 10 more seconds. If you know it, let your Rebbe know, or raise your hand and your Rebbe will call upon you. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to move on. If your Rebbe still is going to call upon you, he can call upon you at the end of today's program. Lag BaOmer tonight. Tomorrow is the grand Lag BaOmer celebration. I can't wait to be part of it. I hope you guys are all hyped up. We're going to have Torah, Tefillah, and Tzedakah. We will hear from Rabbi Jacobson and Rabbi Rabashkin. We'll be hooked up to Meron and the Kaisel will see. By the way, I found out this gem highlight of Lag BaOmer parades is only going to be shown by this Lag BaOmer celebration tomorrow, and the moment that it's over, they're taking it off. That means you won't be able to see it afterwards. So it's something that's only being seen once. And then we obviously have the trivia game. So let's hope that you guys do very, very well. And in Yirtzeh Hashem, you'll be doing Darchei proud, but certainly the Rebbe, and certainly the Rashbi, certainly the Eibishter. And we're doing everything we can to bring Mashiach. Next time we'll see each other. We'll be in the Geula. We'll celebrate tonight Lag BaOmer with the Rashbi, with the Rebbe, as we march towards the Geula Shlema, with Mashiach leading the way, taking us out of the Galus, bringing us to the Geula Shlema now. Together with me, we want Mashiach now.